Well, students, welcome to the online class. So, I think we already know. So, many concepts we discussed in our lower class related to geometry. So, today we want to recall such a concept. One is observe carefully. What is this? Yes. So, I put a dot on a plane surface. Call it as a point. Call this as a point. So what is a point? Remember, what is a point? Observe carefully, just a dot I marked on a board. That is that thing we can call it as a point. So what is a point? So a point has position. A point has position, but no area. But no area. It has a position, but no area. Just a point we plotted on a board. That is called a point. So remember, points are represented with capital letters like A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. So a point has position but no area as well as dimension. No area as well as dimension. Remember, so point is very important in mathematics. A point has position but no dimension. Yes, a point has it's a part. It's a point. It's a part or a part of the area. But it's not possible to measure. Now observe carefully. Related to this point, I will mark some points. So call this as A. Call this as B. Observe these how many points I plotted on a blackboard, on a board, green board. It has 2 points. How many points? 2 points that will lie on a line. If you draw a line like this, you will get a line like this. That 2 points lie on the straight line. Straight line. What do you call such type of points? Call it as collinear. Call it as collinear points. So the points not only to either C or D or E. The 5 points I plotted on a straight line. If you join like this, you will get a straight line. That points we can call it as a collinear points. What do you call that one? Collinear point. Define collinear points. The points lie on the same straight line or call it as a collinear point. Suppose so F is one point, M is another point, K is another point, so L is another point. What do you call F, K, M, L are called non-collinear points. Non-collinear points. The points lie on a same straight line is called collinear point. The point does not lie on the same straight line are called non-collinear point. I think so. You already know about the difference between collinear points and non-collinear points. Now, so what is this again? It is a point. So this is another point. Now 2 points you can join with a like this. What do you call? Call it as a line. Call that one as a line. A line may be straight line or a curved line. A line may be straight line or a curved line. Now, so how many points are there for a line? So on a line we can plot many points, but that line is joined by 2 points. That line is joined by 2 points. So that is called a line. So therefore, what is a line? A line is joined by 2 points. Call it as a line. Call it as a line. Remember, many points we can plot on a line, but line is formed by 2 end points. 2 end points. That's what we can call it as a line. That's what we can call it as a line. Now that line may be a straight line or a curved line. So what is a straight line? So I think you already know many collinear points are joined with straight or joined or lie on the same plane as well as lie on the same straight line. Same straight that one you can call it as a line. Now, so again, this board itself is call it as a plane surface. Call it as a plane surface. Remember, this is a plane. On a plane, we can mark points, collinear points. So non-collinear points, that one we can call it as a plane. All these concepts we are studied in our lower classes. Now come to the another concept. So a geometrical figures having different shapes and different area. Now observe carefully. So this is a line and here is a triangle. And here is a cube. These are also geometrical figures. These are also geometrical figures. So a plane, these two are a triangle. We can call it as a plane figure. We can call it as a plane figure. So this triangle is having two dimensions. This cube is having, is not a plane, it is a solid figure. It has three dimensions. Therefore, so generally, geometrical figures we can classify into two types. One is plane figures, another one is solid figures. A plane figure is having two dimensions. A solid figure is having three dimension. Two dimension means length and breadth or breadth and height. So three dimension means length, breadth as well as height. So here plane figures are having area. Solid figures are having area as well as volume. Even volume is also measurable. Now plane figures are expressed in square units. The area of the plane figures are expressed in square units. This one are expressed in cubic units. That are the major differences between a plane figure and a solid figure. Like this, various things we discussed in our earlier classes. Now, related to this concept, the great mathematician Euclid deduced certain axioms and postulates. So that is introduction to Euclid geometry. As we already know, geometry is one of the important branch in mathematics. So we already know geometry is derived from Greek word. So Greek word such that geo and metron. Geo means earth, metron means measurement. It is measurement of earth. Like this. So in our lower classes we discuss various concepts. That's why. So Euclid is called father of geometry because the preliminary concept is developed by himself. Preliminary concept. So preliminary concept means so point, line, collinear points, non-collinear points, triangles, etc. So basic ideas are given by Euclid, or elementary ideas are given by Euclid. That's why he called. So we will call that person as a father of geometry. Now related to this Euclid concept, so we have to know about axioms and postulates. That is very important. Axioms and postulates. So we have to know what are axioms and what are postulates. Usually mathematical statements are categorized into two types. One is axiom, another one is postulates. So what are axioms? Axioms are mathematical statements. So that statements are that statements are which are accepted with proof and discussion. With proof and discussion, that are called as an axioms. Remember, axioms are mathematical statements that axioms are accepted. Accepted means we have to agree with proof and discussion. For example, things which are added to whole things which are equal to one another, things which are equal to one another are equal, things which are equal to one another are equal, the whole is greater than its parts. Remember, I was taken two examples. Things, whatever it may be, which are equal. For example, so 100 that are equal to 100. We already know that things are always equal. So equal things are added. Things which are equal to one another are equal to 1. Or things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Things which are equal to same thing are one another and are equal. Same thing, 100 is equal to 100. For that we have to add same quantity. Same quantity means 5. Here also 5. You will get 105. Here also you will get 105. That is the meaning of this statement. It means the whole is greater than its parts. Let us consider 100 rupees. Here 100 rupees can be written as 95 rupees and 5 rupees. Now observe, this is whole. These two are parts of the whole. Observe, 100 is greater than 95. 100 is greater than 95. 100 is greater than 5. 95 and 5 are the two parts of 100. Here I was selected. Therefore, whole is greater than its parts. That is called as an axiom. Therefore, we can say that axioms are the mathematical statements which are accepted with proof and discussion. That's very important. With proof. Even like this. So things which are double the same are equal to one another. Remember, even so whole is greater than its part. For example, observe here. Here is 90-degree angle. How much it is? 90-degree. So angle ABC is 90-degree. Divide this angle ABC. One is 30-degree. Or we can mark here itself D. This is 30-degree. This is 60-degree. Now observe, 60 is lesser than 90. 30 is lesser than 90. Therefore, 90 greater than 60 degree, 90 degree greater than 30 degree, we can say that whole is greater than its part. So with the help of these two examples, so these are mathematical statements which are accepted with proof. That is very important. Proof means practically we did that one. Practically we have to say whole is greater than its parts. So things which are practically proof and with proof and discussion. Even with proof we can say that axiom. So therefore axioms are the mathematical statements that one which are accepted with proof and discussion. So now come to postulates. So what are postulates? Postulates are also mathematical statements. Mathematical statements which are accepted without proof and discussion. Now observe, here is a point. On that point we will draw a line like this. How many lines you are going to draw? Many lines. Therefore, number of lines are dotted or drawn to a point. Further, any proof is needed, any discussion is needed. Without writing also, we can accept that statement. Or a straight line is one that can be extended on both sides. For that, proof is not necessary, discussion is not necessary. Generally, we can accept such type of statements that are called as a postulates. Now, what is the difference between axioms and postulates? Both are mathematical statements, but axioms are mathematical statements that are accepted with proof and discussion. We have to agree with proof and discussion. Yes. So even without proof and discussions also we can agree that statements that are called as a postulates. Let us see some examples of axioms and postulates. Up to here we have studied about axioms and postulates. Now certain examples of axioms. Certain examples of axioms. You are already known. Mathematical statements which are accepted with proof and discussion. Yes, discussion is we have to accept with proof and discussion. So the first axiom is yes, things which are equal to same thing. Things which are equal to same thing. Things which are equal to same thing are equal to one another. Yes. See the first example, first axiom. Things which are equal to same thing are equal to one another. As we all know. So things which are equal to one another are equal to same thing. It means two things are equal. Two things are equal that are always equal to one another. For example, A is equal to B. Things which are equal to same thing are equal to one another. B is equal to C. Then A is equal to C. That is the meaning of these statements. Observe carefully. Things which are equal to same thing are equal to one another. Here I was taken A and B are equal, and B and C are also equal. Then I can say A and C are also equal. A and C are also equal. And let us go first on to the second example. If equals are ordered to equal, if equals are ordered to whole thing, if equals are ordered to wholes, if equals are ordered to equals, if equals are ordered to equals, the wholes are equal. The wholes are equal. Here is another axiom. Now, equals are ordered to equal. For example, A is equal to B. A and B are equal. For that you have to add equal thing. Add C on both sides. A plus C is equal to B plus C. Remember, A is equal to B. We have added A equal C on both sides. Equal C on both sides. The sum is also equal. That is the meaning of this statement. Equals are added to equals. The whole means A plus C is equal to B plus C, where C is added. C is added. That is the meaning of this axiom. Suppose 100 is equal to, just now we have taken 100 rupees is equal to 100 rupees. Add 5 rupees. 100 plus 5 is equal to 100 plus 5. How much do we get? 105. Yes, 105 and 105 are equal. That is the meaning of this statement. What this idea? In a geometrical version, here is 90 degree. This is AOB. Here is also 90 degree. PQR. So 90 degree is equal to 90 degree. So it means 90 degree is equal to 90 degree. Add 10 degree. 90 degree plus 10 degree. Here also you can add 10 degree. 90 degree plus 10 degree. You will get 100 degree is equal to 100 degree. It means 10 degree we have added to equals. The whole is also equal. The whole is also equal. Whatever the result we get, that is also equal. That is the meaning of this statement. If equals are added to equals are equal. Now let us pass on to the third axiom. So two axioms we discussed here. If equals are added to equals are equal. Second one, if equals are added to, yes, equal, the wholes are equal. Third one, if equals are subtracted, if equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are also equal. The remainders are also equal. Now another axiom. So if equals are subtracted from equal, remember A and C or A and B are equal. Subtract C from these two equal. So A minus C is also equal to B minus C. Remember, if equals are subtracted from equal, C and C are equal. C and C are equal. That C you have to subtract from A and B because A and B are also equal. The remainders, whatever you will get remainder, that is also equal. That is A minus C is equal to B minus C. For example, 100 is equal to 100. These two are equal. You can subtract 5 from the whole. So 5 from the whole. Equal things are to be subtracted. What is the remainder? Here is 95. Here is also 95. The two are equals. It means if equals are subtracted from equal, the remainders are equal. The remainders are equal. Now let us take the fourth axiom. So things which coincide one another are equal to one another. Things which coincide. Things which coincide with one another. With one another are equal. one another are equal to one another. Read this statement. Things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Things which coincide. Remember, so A is equal to B, then B is equal to A. So coincide with one another are equal to one another. If A is B, then we can say that B is A. It means if LHS must be equal to RHS, then RHS must be equal to LHS. That is the meaning of this statement. The things which are, yes, things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. So like this, various axioms are there. So you have to recall all the axioms because you have already learned in your lower class. Now the fifth axiom, so that is the whole is greater than its part. The whole is greater than its parts. Just now I was already taken in a definition. Yes, this is also one of the axiom. The whole is greater than its parts. And the sixth one, things which are double the same thing are equal to one another. Things which are double of the same thing. Things which are double of the same thing. Things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. Things which are double to one another. So remember, so x must be equal to y. So things which are double means you have to multiply for x, it will become 2x. So x is one quantity, 2x is another quantity. So see the difference between these two. So it is 100 rupees, it is 200 rupees. It is 90 rupees, it is 180 rupees. Let's call it double. Which must be equal to 2y. That are also equal. The meaning is same quantity you have to multiply on both sides. The value does not change. That is the meaning of this statement. Things which are double the same thing are equal to one another. And the seventh statement, things which are halves. Things which are halves, H-A-L-V-E-S, halves of the same thing, are equal to one another. So remember, so x is equal to y. Make it as half. So that is, so x by 2 is also equal to y by 2. That is the meaning of this thing. It means divide same quantity on both sides. The value does not change. These are all mathematical statements which are accepted with proof and discussion. That's why I did all these examples with proof and discussions. So that's why these are called axioms. So nearly 7 axioms we discussed here. What are these? Recall one by one. Things which are equal to one another are equal to same things. So things which are equal to one another are equal to same thing. Equation 1, I think you already know. 2, 3, like that. Or A is equal to B and B is equal to C. Then A is equal to C. So that is what we can call it as a things which are equal to one another. So are equal to same thing. And second axiom, if equals are added to equal, the wholes are equal. Same quantity you have to add on both sides. The value does not change. changes. That is the second axiom. And the third one, if equals are subtracted from the whole, if equals are subtracted from the whole, the remainders are also equal. Very interesting. Same quantity, you have to extract from the equal things, the remaining quantity is also equal. R. So two things are equal. Equal things you have to take from the equal things. The remainders are also equal. The remainders are also equal. And the fourth axiom, so that is things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Things which coincide. So observe here, AB coincide with CD are equal. AB and CD are exactly overlapped with one another. That are always equal. That is the meaning of this statement. So things which coincide with one another are equal. Are equal. And finally, the fifth axiom: the whole is greater than its parts. I think you already know best examples we have taken. Whole is greater than its parts. Of course, even by taking quantity or by taking angles, we can prove this statement. So whole is greater than its parts. Even that is also accepted with proof and discussion. And things which are double the same thing are equal to one another. This multiplication. So if two things are equal, you have to multiply or double or triple, whatever it may be, multiply same quantity on both sides, the value does not change. Not only double, you can multiply any quantity on both sides. Both sides means LHS and RHS, the value does not change. For example, x is equal to y. So 2x is equal to 2y. Then 3x is equal to 3y. Then 4x is equal to 4y. That is the meaning of this statement. If equal things are, so things which are double the same thing are also equal. Halves of a whole thing, halves of half also equal. The things which are double the same thing are also equal. The things which are half the same thing, half the same thing are also equal. These are all called as a mathematical statements. So we are accepted with proof and discussion. Let us recall one by one. I think so. Now you are well versed in axioms. So these axioms are developed by Euclid by taking various analysis. Usually, we already know Euclid is a father of geometry because he has given various concepts to elementary school level, a point, a line, a triangle, collinear points, non-collinear points, parallel line, intersecting line, like that, various concepts is given by him. That's why he called as a father of geometry. And also, all that mathematical statements are categorized into two ways. One is axiom, another one is postulates. You already know. Now you already know what is an axiom. An axiom is a mathematical statement which are accepted. That statements are accepted with proof and discussion. For every statement, we have to give proof as well as we have to discuss. That's why that mathematical statement we can call it as an axiom. For example, so if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. The same thing are things which are equal to same thing are also equal. Whole is greater than its part. Same things you have to multiply on both LHS or RHS, you will get same thing like that. So various ways we have to prove this axioms. Now come to postulates. I think so. What are postulates? You already know. Postulates are also mathematical statements. Postulates are also mathematical statements that are accepted, So without open discussion, even in some aspect, postulates are also called axioms. Postulates are also called axioms. Now the first postulate. So I think a straight line may be drawn from any point. Any point. So a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. A straight line, yes, a straight line may be drawn from one point to any other point. Very interesting that a straight line can be drawn, a straight line may be drawn from one point. So we want to draw a straight line, one point is needed to any other point. So what do we do here? So here is a point P. It is called as a straight line. For this, discussion is not necessary. Proof is not necessary. We know that any two points are joined with a line that is called a straight line. All collinear points lie on that line. That's why, so a straight line may be drawn from one point to another point, not only like this. So even here it is A, you can draw A and B. So or you can draw like this. It means minimum 2 points are required to draw a straight line. For this statement, proof and discussion is not necessary. Generally, we can accept this statement. And another postulate, that is, a terminated line can be produced indefinitely. A terminated line can be produced indefinitely. Yes, indefinitely. So now here is a straight line. The end points are A and B. Now this one you can produce like this. This one you can produce like this. It means there is no end for a straight line. That can be extended on both sides up to infinite. For this, any proof is needed? No. Any discussion is needed? No. So by knowing itself, by hearing that statement itself, we can accept a line can be extended on both sides. So up to where indefinitely, infinitely, there is no end to a straight line. That can be extended on both sides. The meaning is a terminal or an end point of a line, that can be extended on both sides. And a circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. A circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. So very interesting character. So observe here is a circle, here is another circle, here is another circle. Call this as centers A, B, C. Here to here is R1, here to here is R2, here to here is R2. Observe, the centers will differ, radius will differentiate. So therefore, the circle can be drawn with any center. So there is no particular point. Any center you can draw a circle depending on the radius. the radius will differ from one circle to another circle. So for this also proof and discussion is not necessary. So like this, all right angles are equal to one another. All right angles are equal to one another. Remember, so 90 degree is equal to 90 degree. So all equal angles are equal to one another like that. All right angles are equal to one another. And also if a straight line falling on two straight lines make interior angles on the same side. So taken together, so less than two right angles. Less than two right angles. Like this, various postulates are there. So I think I can put an end to here. So in this class, we are discussed about axioms and postulates. Okay, thank you one and all.